Tax-free? Yes, it's mine and you already have it too.
What did her planner tell her? What was wrong? She had worked for 37 years. She had saved carefully. She had done everything she was told to do. And then, on a Tuesday morning in March, her financial planner said 4 words that stopped her cold. Have you touched your HSA? She hadn't. Not really. Not the way she should have. And what she heard next changed the entire picture of her retirement. What was she sitting on? Why didn't she know? For nearly 4 decades, Patricia Osei walked the halls of a children's hospital in Raleigh, North Carolina. Pediatric nurse, 37 years. She had held the hands of frightened children and reassured parents who didn't know what was coming next. She was the calm voice in the room when everything else felt uncertain. She retired at 64, believing she had built a solid financial foundation. A pension, a Roth IRA, Social Security filed at 67. A modest HSA account she had contributed to every year since 2010. She used it for glasses, for dental work, for the occasional prescription that insurance didn't fully cover. She thought of it as a health debit card. She had no idea she was sitting on something far more powerful than that. What is the triple tax advantage? Why does it matter? Here's the mistake, and it's not unique to Patricia. It is, according to a 2023 survey by the Employee Benefit Research Institute, the mistake made by an estimated 70% of all HSA account holders in this country. They use it every year. Dollar in, dollar out, a copay here, a prescription there, a dental bill, maybe glasses, and the account stays almost perfectly flat because every dollar that comes in goes right back out. But here's what nobody told Patricia, and possibly nobody told you, is that an HSA is not a health debit card, not if you use it correctly. At its best, an HSA is the only triple tax-advantaged retirement vehicle in the entire United States tax code. And most people are using it like a coupon. Why wasn't she using it this way? Let's slow down for 30 seconds, because this one concept is worth more than anything else in this video. A health savings account, when used correctly, gives you 3 tax advantages that no other account in America can offer all at once. First, your contributions go in tax deductible. If you put $3,000 into your HSA, your taxable income drops by $3,000. Second, the money inside grows completely tax-free. If you invested in index funds and it doubles over 15 years, you do not owe a single dollar in taxes on those gains. Third, when you take money out for qualified medical expenses, doctor visits, prescriptions, dental work, vision, long-term care premiums, Medicare premiums, that withdrawal is also completely tax-free. Tax-free in, tax-free growth, tax-free out. No other account does all 3. Not your 401k, not your Roth, not your IRA, just the HSA. And Patricia had been using hers like a grocery store gift card. How does someone fix this now? Is it too late? Patricia started contributing to her HSA in 2010. For 14 years, she put in roughly $4,000 a year. That's approximately $56,000 in total contributions over her working life. But she spent almost all of it as she went. Small purchases, necessary ones, legitimate ones. By the time she retired at 64, her HSA balance was just under $9,000. Now, her planner pulled up a simple projection. What if she had kept those contributions invested in a basic stock index fund, the same one her Roth IRA held, and just paid medical expenses out of pocket instead? The number that came up on that screen made Patricia set down her coffee cup. At an estimated 7% average annual return, those invested contributions over 14 years would have grown to approximately $148,000, tax-free. She had nearly $9,000. She could have had an estimated $148,000.
The difference was $139,000. One decision, repeated for 14 years, and it cost her the equivalent of 3 years of retirement income.
When should someone start making this change? Let's look at this more carefully, because whether you have been contributing for 2 years or 20 years, the math applies to you. If someone contributes $4,000 a year to an HSA and spends it all, after 14 years, they have whatever is left over in the account, usually very little. If that same person contributes $4,000 a year and invests it in an index fund averaging 7% annually while paying medical expenses from regular income, after 14 years, the estimated balance is approximately $148,000, tax-free. If that same balance is left invested for another decade, say they continue through age 74, the estimated value climbs to approximately $291,000, still tax-free. That's the difference between a health debit card and a stealth retirement vault. Same account, same IRS rules, completely different outcomes.
What can she do now? What is the answer? Patricia sat at her kitchen table that evening, legal pad, pencil, her reading glasses. She wasn't angry. She wasn't even sad in the way she expected to feel. She was calculating. 37 years of caring for other people's children had taught her one thing above everything else. You don't waste time on regret. You find what you can do next. So she asked her planner the question that changed the second half of the conversation. What can I do about it now? And that's when things got interesting. Because the answer to that question is exactly why this video exists.
How much time do I have? When does this close?
Before we go further, we have to stop here. Because there is a rule most people learn about too late. Once you enroll in Medicare, Part A specifically, you can no longer make new contributions to your HSA. The IRS prohibits it. This is one of the most common and most costly retirement mistakes we see, and it often happens quietly. Some people enroll in Medicare automatically when they file for Social Security. Others don't realize that enrolling in Part A retroactively backdates their coverage, which can create a period of ineligibility that results in an excise tax on contributions they made without knowing they were disqualified. This is not a small technicality. This can result in penalties on top of contributions that were supposed to be helping you. The window to keep contributing to your HSA and to maximize what you're putting in closes the moment Medicare begins. And for many people approaching 65, that window is shorter than they think.
How much could she actually recover? What were the numbers? Now here is the part of Patricia's conversation that changed everything. Her planner asked one more question. Did you keep your medical receipts? Patricia looked confused. Of course she kept receipts. She was organized, hospital-level organized. She had folders going back to 2010. The planner smiled. Here is why that matters. The IRS does not require you to reimburse yourself for qualified medical expenses in the same year you paid them. There is no deadline on reimbursement, as long as the expenses occurred after your HSA was established and as long as you have documentation to prove them. Patricia had 14 years of receipts, doctor's visits, dental work, prescriptions, eye exams, 14 years of out-of-pocket medical expenses she had paid from her regular checking account, while her HSA sat largely unspent. Every single one of those receipts represented a potential tax-free withdrawal, right now, even today. She could reimburse herself for expenses she paid in 2011, or 2015, or 2020, completely tax-free. No age restriction, no deadline, just receipts. How do I start making this change? We're now past the halfway point of this story, and I want to make sure you haven't missed what just happened. Patricia came into that conversation thinking her HSA was a minor account, maybe $9,000, something she used for glasses and copays. She left that conversation with a completely different picture. A corrected retirement plan that included an HSA reimbursement strategy, an investment allocation inside the account for future growth, and a clear understanding of the Medicare enrollment timing that would determine whether she could keep contributing. Most retirees never have this conversation. Most people with an HSA live their entire retirement treating it like a health debit card, never understanding that they own a triple tax-advantaged stealth vault. So let me ask you something directly. How long have you had your HSA? And how much of it have you spent every year?
Why don't more financial planners explain this? Let's look at what Patricia's corrected plan actually involves. Her financial planner laid out 3 specific elements. First, the reimbursement strategy. Patricia had documented medical expenses from 2010 through 2023, totaling an estimated $31,000, expenses she had paid out of pocket while her HSA remained largely unspent. She could withdraw that $31,000 from her HSA completely tax-free right now as reimbursement for those past expenses. Second, the investment strategy. Her remaining HSA balance of $9,000 would be moved from a low-interest cash account into a diversified index fund within the HSA. At an estimated 7% annual return over the next 10 years, that $9,000 was projected to grow to approximately $17,000, still entirely tax-free for medical expenses. Third, the Medicare timing. Patricia had not yet enrolled in Medicare. She was still covered through a former employer's retiree health plan. That window gave her an additional contribution year. At 65, the catch-up contribution limit allows her to contribute an estimated $5,450 in 2026, all of it tax-deductible.
When does this crisis actually hit? There is something else we need to name. According to Fidelity Investments, the average 65-year-old couple retiring today is estimated to need approximately $330,000 just to cover healthcare costs throughout retirement. That number does not include long-term care. Think about that for a moment. $330,000 for one couple for healthcare alone. And yet, the average HSA balance at retirement is under $20,000, which means the account specifically designed to provide tax-free healthcare funding in retirement is covering less than 10% of what most retirees will actually need. The gap between what people have in their HSA and what they are going to need in healthcare costs is one of the most under-discussed retirement risks in America today. And it's closing in on every retiree who treats their HSA like a debit card.
What should I do right now? When Patricia walked out of her planner's office that day, her retirement plan looked different than when she walked in. Not because her savings had changed, not because the market had moved, not because some complicated financial product was being sold to her. It looked different because she finally understood what she already owned. The HSA she had been treating like a health debit card for 14 years was actually a triple tax-advantaged retirement vault that she had been systematically underfilling and then immediately emptying. And the receipts in her filing cabinet represented tens of thousands of dollars in tax-free reimbursement she had been sitting on without ever realizing she could access them. Patricia's corrected plan projected an additional estimated $40,000 to $45,000 in total retirement value from the HSA alone, from reimbursements, from investment growth, and from one final year of maximum contributions before Medicare enrollment. Not because she did anything extraordinary, because she finally asked the right question at the right time.
What happens if someone misses this? Here is what this means for you. There are 4 things to check before this video ends. Step 1. Find out your current HSA balance and where it is invested.
If your HSA is sitting in a low-interest cash account, you may be able to move it into investment options inside the same HSA. Index funds, target date funds, bond funds. Check with your HSA provider. Most allow investing once your balance crosses a minimum threshold, often $1,000. Step 2. Pull your medical expense records from the year your HSA was first opened forward. Every out-of-pocket expense you paid, from a doctor visit to a dental crown to prescription glasses that you did not reimburse yourself from your HSA at the time, may be eligible for a tax-free withdrawal now. You need documentation. Receipts, explanation of benefit statements, bank records, save them. Step 3. Understand your Medicare enrollment timeline. If you are not yet enrolled in Medicare and you are still covered by a qualifying high-deductible health plan, you are still eligible to contribute. For 2026, the catch-up contribution limit for those 55 and older is estimated at $5,450 for family coverage. That is a tax deduction you may still be able to take. Step 4. Do not let the reimbursement window close by losing your documentation. The IRS does not set a deadline on HSA reimbursements, but they do require that expenses occurred after the HSA was opened and that you have proof. The moment your records are gone, that tax-free money cannot be claimed.
When is the right time to act? Before we close, I want to say something directly. The HSA is the most powerful tax-free retirement tool most people in America already own and have never fully used. It is not new. It is not complicated. It does not require a financial degree. It requires one thing: understanding what you already have before you spend it like pocket change. The Medicare enrollment window does not wait. Once you enroll in Part A, whether you meant to or not, whether it happened automatically or on purpose, the contribution window is closed. For good. No appeal, no exception. Patricia caught this in time, not by years, by months. And the difference between catching this in time and missing it was an estimated $40,000+ in tax-free retirement value that would simply have never existed. Your receipts, your HSA balance, your Medicare enrollment date. 3 things. Check them before the end of this week. Not next month, this week.
Always remember to retire smart and not sorry. Hit the subscribe button now and drop a comment on why retirement topic you love to hear discussed on our next video. Patricia called her planner back 2 weeks later. She had pulled every receipt she could find. She had moved her HSA balance into an index fund inside the account. She had calculated her final contribution window, and she had started building what her planner called, quietly and correctly, her tax-free healthcare vault. She didn't change her lifestyle. She didn't sell anything. She didn't make a single risky decision. She just started treating what she already owned the way it was designed to be treated. If this video changed how you think about your HSA, share it with one person who should hear it. Because the people who need this most are the ones who have never been told. And remember, the goal is not just to retire. The goal is to retire without unnecessary taxes, without preventable mistakes, and without leaving money you earned sitting on a table you didn't know you were sitting at. Retire smart and not sorry.